I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right, but I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who can move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yards. You know, you get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. I mean, we know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But, you know, I do have hope for him. I think at season's end, he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low-end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. The Friday Night Freak Show has begun. Let's do this thing on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Sirius XM, Channel 159. We got a full house on the program. The coach, Terry Bowden, is out, but Lou Gamblu is in. We've got Lou. We've got Rob Vino. We've got a Heisman Trophy voter, and our boy Brent Beard steps up and in and kicks it with us this evening. The Raging Redhead Cam Stewart back in the rotation. Tony Finn joins us straight from the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's championship weekend. It's the calm before the storm. We're going to know the playoff bracket on Sunday before the National Football League games start, and we'll know all the bowl matchups as well. But let's attack what's going on right now on the field. And what's going on is the home teams are rolling tonight. Jacksonville State are on the verge of winning the Conference USA Championship. They're up 45-12 on Western Kentucky. They're drilling them right now with a little under 10 minutes left in that football game. Army have reported for duty tonight at West Point, and Army are rolling like tanks up and down the football field. Tulane showed a little bit of a spark before the end of the half with a big-time touchdown that they needed. They were down 21-0. They get the touchdown, but Army got the ball to start the second half and scored a touchdown again. In-game total is 52.5 right now. We're like midway through the third quarter of play right now. We're at 35. Tulane's not going to quit, although Tulane's offense is pretty, it's kind of bad, to be honest. Their offense has suddenly been struggling over the last couple of weeks. And the thing is, Army only really run the ball, right? They only run the ball. So Army just runs the ball, and they're popping big runs. So I think the capability of the in-game over is there. We're on the over the football game to begin with, over 45. But we took over 51.5 at the half. And like I said, I think we have a strong chance of getting this. 21-0 for Boise State. UNLV just can't get anything going on offense. It's been a problem for them. And they missed a field goal early. They were sort of hanging around in the game. I don't know if it's the cold weather. I think Boise State are just that good. And this is the one that's bothering me because I got Boise State parlayed with Tulane in a moneyline parlay. But when the numbers came out like last week for all these championship games, the two games that jumped off the screen at me were Boise State and the Ducks. And I bet the Ducks. I don't know why I didn't put the Boise State play in. And then I started to talk myself into that, you know what, I think UNLV can hang around in this game. Now, I didn't think UNLV were going to win the game, but I thought, you know what, they could lose like 35-28 or something like that, right? Like they could cover a teaser, and that's what I did. And I teased this game to the over, but UNLV are giving us nothing right now. So we're getting punched in the mouth. We went for a halftime adjustment, so we took the over 51.5 in the Army game at the half. And we're hoping that UNLV can put some points up on the board, but it's not looking good. And they're kind of arguing on the sidelines right now. The wheels are starting to fall off for the running Rebels. I tell you, Boise State, their defense has really stepped up tonight. I don't want to say, it's only against UNLV, because UNLV actually are good. I think, but listen, we saw Boise State only lost by a field goal to the Oregon Ducks. They really can't play with anybody. They're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. So they're going to win the championship? Probably not. But they are a dangerous football team. This is a great performance tonight. Yet it's at home. And look at like the trend tonight. 3 conference championship games, all on home fields, and the home teams are all rolling. Jacksonville State's up 45-12. Army's up 28-7. Boise are up 21-0. And, remember the first round of the college football playoffs will not be on neutral fields. They're going to be at respective home stadiums. So home teams seem to be the thing right now. All right, we got a bunch of NHL hockey games coming up, and I'm involved in these games. The Vancouver Canucks off a successful road trip. Oftentimes, teams back home especially after a long road trip. The Canucks were on a long road trip, and it was a good road trip. It's a really bad spot. Like for teams. Teams often lose that first game back at home after a road trip, specifically if they had a good road trip. But with that being stated, the Canucks have struggled at home this year, right? They're like 3-5-3, like no joke. Like the Canucks have had problems at home. They're aware of it. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are also a terrible road team. So the Canucks have won 3 times at home. And the Blue Jackets have won 3 times on the road. The Blue Jackets are like 3-8 on the road. And the Blue Jackets played last night as well. So not an easy spot for the Jackets to be in after playing the Oilers. So the Vancouver Canucks, to me, the fact, I don't love the -1.5, but I bet it because of the fact that it's plus 115. So we're getting plus money with this. Vancouver Canucks minus a goal and a half tonight, plus 115. The Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. This is a good hockey game. This is a heavyweight matchup on the Strip in Vegas. Dallas are minus 150 favorites, and Dallas have been on the West Coast all week. We've been talking about these Star games all week. They've been on the West Coast all week, but what catches my eye about this hockey game is I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. I think the total is 6. You can get like 6.5 at like minus 140, minus 150 if you don't like the even 6, but I'm playing this game to the under. The Dallas Stars are an under team. They're 13-9-3 to the under on the season. Vegas are an over team, but if you look at Vegas's last few games, they just beat the Ducks 4-1. They beat the Edmonton Oilers 1-0. After they lost that game 6-0 to Utah, they've really tightened up defensively. And if you look at the history between these two teams, they've actually played 6 straight games like under this number. And I know a couple of them were playoff games, but we played 2-1, 2-0, 3-2, 4-2, 3-2, 3-1. We have to go all the way back to April 22nd, like 7 games ago, that they played a 4-3 game. Low-scoring games between these two teams, and we're going to the trend is our friend in this spot. We're going to ride the under. So we paid the extra juice at 6.5. So I don't think they're going to get to 7 in this game. So we're going under 6.5 in that one. And finally, in closing, we got a really good Minnesota Wild hockey team that just beat the Vancouver Canucks in overtime the other night. The Wild are really good, 17-4 on the season, 17-4-4 on the season. The thing about the Wild, they're 10-1 on the road, man, 10-1-3 to be exact. That overtime stuff and shootout stuff, whatever. So the Wild have been a great road team. The Ducks have been like a competitive team this year. They're 10-11-3. So they're basically a 500 team. We talk about it. They're always big underdogs. It feels like, Minnesota. I don't really want to get in front of Minnesota in this spot. But another instance in which, if you look at the Minnesota Wild games, 3-2 against the Canucks, 3-2 against the Preds, 3-2 against the Blackhawks, 1-0 against the Sabres. 4-1 against the Winnipeg Jets. That's 5 games in a row that they didn't even go over 5.5. All right, now you look at the Anaheim Ducks. The Ducks are one of the top under teams in the National Hockey League. 16-6-2 to the under. We were on the under the other night against Vegas, and it comfortably covered and went under the number. So let's pull the trigger on the under here. It's 5.5 plus 100, or you can make it at even 6, like minus 125, minus 130. But I think we have a strong track record. So in other words, we're playing the under in Minnesota and the Duck game. We're playing the under in Vegas and the Dallas Stars, and we're playing the Vancouver Canucks minus 1.5. We've got a triple header of college football going on. It's Championship Saturday, NFL Sunday, UFC 310. Let's roll. Bring it.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right? But I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who can move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore, because you want that additional rushing yards. You know, you get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But, you know, I do have hope for him. I think at season's end, he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low-end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Friday Night Freak Show. We got a triple header of championship football. It's the calm before the storm, and we got a big weekend, obviously. Tomorrow we've got the conference championship games, the heavyweight step up and in tomorrow, Sunday afternoon / morning on the West Coast. We'll find out the college football playoff bracket, the final bracket and standing. So far, things are playing true to form. Not that Jacksonville State and Western Kentucky had anything involved in the playoffs, but this game has just gone over the number. Jacksonville State, congratulations to Rich Rodriguez. He's going to win the Conference USA Championship with Jacksonville State. They're smashing Western Kentucky 52-12. They're leaving no doubt. They're about to win the conference championship. Meanwhile, Army Army are running the ball very successfully on Tulane. Tulane has missed two early field goals. Tulane were sloppy. They've shown flashes. They're moving the ball right now. They're in a lot of trouble. They're down 28-7. In-game total is 54.5 right now. And Boise State. Boise State are up 21-0. UNLV. Listen, UNLV are hanging on for dear life in this game. And Ashton Genty did pop a big touchdown run, and he's closing in on Barry Sanders' all-time rushing yard prop. Ed, props to Barry Sanders as well. A class act. He actually tweeted good luck to Ashton Genty tonight. So it's 21-0 there. But UNLV are in a 3rd and goal situation right now. They need this, like water in the desert that they're from right now. They're screwed, but maybe if they make it 21-7, they can get something going here. 21-0 in this football game. Let's bring in Cam Stewart. Coach Terry Bowden normally joins us tonight, but the coach is under the weather. We wish the coach the best. And we bring in Coach Cam instead of Coach Bowden. We love Cam, but Cam is not a former NCAA Coach of the Year. And he didn't lead the Auburn Tigers to a 12-0 undefeated season. How you doing, Cam?
Hi, Gabe. Good. Back from Western New York in the winter. Wetzel's like, why do you come back on Friday? Nice vacation. I'm like, okay, Scott, it's cool, buddy. Let's just stick to the picks. But hope you're doing well, Gabe. Yeah, it was a lot of fun out there, a lot of blackjack, and crazy scene last night with that Green Bay game, that Green Bay-Detroit game. I've never seen so many people in that casino there packed watching the game. It was fantastic. And you're right, watching UNLV play right now, down 21-0, it looks, well, I thought they'd be a little bit closer than tonight, but they're not, Gabe. So good on Boise State. You talked about Genty. He's just been on fire. And I got Tulane live, but they're in a lot of trouble as well.
And now it's a 4th and goal coming up. I got to tell you, listen, UNLV, you know, Boise just punched them in the mouth. Boise have come to play tonight. Boise are a damn good football team, but Boise are also getting away with murder. Like on this pass right now in the end zone, like it couldn't have been any more blatant pass interference than it was. He arrived early. He totally grabbed him, you know, but there's a lot of money on the line. I know it's cliche to say, but like, you know, Boise getting into the playoffs helps the conference. And on 4th and goal, Williams just sails it over everybody's head. Not even close. Boise State about to take over. This game is going to go under the number, and Boise State are going to cover the number in this game. They're rocking in Boise tonight. All right, Cam, NHL hockey. We've got 3 games. No one's scored yet, so let's get your quick picks here. Canucks and Blue Jackets. What's your pick for this game?
I like the Canucks, actually, -1.5 in this game. I think it's a statement game for them. The Blue Jackets are on a back-to-back. I saw your other picks, Gabe. I kind of agree with you. Anaheim's playing everybody tight right now. I would lean to the under, and I like the Dallas Stars to beat the Vegas Golden Knights. What are they laying, 25, 30 cents in that game? But, yeah, I like Vancouver.
No, 50 for whatever reason.
Really?
It closes -150 favorites. It's pretty high against Vegas.
Yeah, that's it. That is a lot of juice. I still like Dallas to win. I just don't like the price. And
I played the under.
Oh, Gabe, I see Columbus has scored, so we're in a perfect opportunity to take Vancouver live.
Just great.
I know. I didn't bet the
this
game.
Team, bro, this team and giving up the first damn goal of the game. It's constant.
It's unreal.
It's just what the hell did Tulane do? Tulane just got a first down. You're losing 28-7. You're moving the ball. I think they just got a penalty. They got a first down, but then a lineman came in and smoked one of the Army guys. After I think they're getting frustrated here with the way things. That's the thing when you play these military teams, man. These guys like they're military dudes. Like the football game is nothing to them, and you know what I mean. They're chirping you and they're running the ball down your throat, and then you start to get frustrated. But yeah, good job, Remtech. You just cost us 15 yards. I need some points in this game. Remtech, offensive lineman. Come on, Remtech. You're playing for a conference championship here, bro.
Great handle.
You know, it was a nice play. They caught the ball. I don't know. He didn't like the dude on Army slammed the wide receiver down. You know, it was borderline, whatever it is, what it is. But it's a stupid move, bro. Now you just move the ball down back to the 25, 3.5 left in the third quarter here. I just want some points, but yeah, man, the Blue Jackets score first on the Canucks, guys. And if you tune into the show a lot, it's amazing. We talk about it all the time, Cam. The Canucks, They've given up the first goal of the game, bro, in like 13 of the last 15 hockey games they've been in. It's insanity how they give up the first goal all the time.
You're right, Gabe. And another thing, I've learned a lot of trends, and some things never change. Even when I went away, like Colorado was beating Buffalo 4-0. Buffalo was beating Colorado 4-0. Thank God I didn't bet that game. I was actually going to go to that game. And
why don't you go to you're in the area, so you can't break the bank and go to a Sabre game?
I can't lie to you, Gabe. I wanted to not pay $200 in Uber, and Lisa was drinking. It was her car, so we made the choice to stay at the casino and watch. But
they can't
anyway,
be $200 from Niagara Falls.
They're in back. Yeah. Buffalo's like 40 minutes away.
They're in back. Yes. They're in back. Yeah, not one.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm cheap. Okay.
Yeah. I was just saying.
the tickets were. No, I could.
You wouldn't be able to keep up with me. I'm on the road, bro. I'm walking out of Seattle football games. I'm like, $119 Uber. Let's go. Like, I'm leaving LA games. $220 cash. All right, here you go, man. Let's go.
Yeah, things have changed, Gabe. Like you're with the big boys now. I'm at the 2.5 star. You're at the 5. But yeah, I could have done 3 Sabre games for the price of like 1 Uber. But anyway, they blew a 4-0 lead, and last night against the Jets too. This team is unreal. Just bet against them. If they're winning or tied, they'll lose. Guaranteed.
Man, those casinos should have like a shuttle, like to the game.
That's what I said.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, and I'm getting incredibly frustrated. Listen, we had a roll last night. We killed a football game. You know, it's been a good week. We've been hitting these games. I knew these games were tricky coming into tonight. It's just the frustration of you know, like Tulane right now. They're on the goal line. They go back. They get a penalty. Then they got to go for it on fourth down. They don't get it. UNLV's on the goal line. They don't punch it in. I just want some points, second half points in these games. But we did jump in pretty heavily on the late night hockey. The Blue Jackets are up. Well, I swear to God, every snap, like UNLV are having a hard time just snapping the ball without like fumbling it. The quarterback is rattled. The Williams kid is rattled, like big time. The quarterback of UNLV, and he's been unrattable. Ratable. It's not a word. He hasn't gotten rattled this year. He's unrattable.
I like that.
He's not a rat. He's not a snitch. He's not. He's unrattable. He's not a snitch.
He's not a rat. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like he's never been rattled. Like remember he came in like if as the backup when the other kid quit the team, and he was better. He's played in big games too. It's not like this is his first big game. He played against Boise. He played well when they played against Boise in the last game. They lost 29-24. I think the cold weather has gotten to him a little bit. It's just everybody's off, Cam. It's one of these deals. I think it's sort of showing, bro. I think tomorrow it'll sort of be the same thing with some of these games. Boise State have played a lot of big games, Cam. Right? They have a pedigree. They're used to this. It's in their stadium right now. The kids on UNLV, great season. They're not a fraudulent team or anything, but they're playing in a conference championship game on a Friday night in Boise, Idaho, and you got a bunch of kids from Nevada and California, Cam, and it's not working out well for them.
No,
Let's just call it out for what it is.
Oh, Gabe, we've been doing this for a long time. Boise State, when they were just a regular team, when they're beating Oklahoma in bowl games and stuff, there's something special about this school. When you go to their place, they're in the blue turf. They already have a significant
they're
advantage.
Playing angry tonight too. They have like an edge. They've had an edge to them. Like they're not just like, oh, we got to win the game. They're like, no, let's like murder UNLV tonight. Like they're playing really hard. Listen, and UNLV too. It's like I swear to God, I think the Ryan Grubb, the Seahawk play caller, is calling the plays for UNLV right now. All they do, bro, is they just throw it deep down like one side of the field on every play, and it's like not working. Like they don't mix it up. And watch how many times like he'll just drop back and he'll throw a bomb down the right side of the field. He's nowhere near the wide receivers, and it's pretty crazy because listen, Boise are only at 21. Like if UNLV freaking offense could get anything going. You know, they can make a game of this, but it is what it is. All right, so we got a big conference championship weekend of football. And, you know, Cam, we always talk in Atlanta, they have the best concession prices, right? Like $20. Like you can get popcorn, pizza, a couple of drinks. And Arthur Blank has the cheapest concession prices in North America. There's a couple of other stadiums that sort of copied it a bit, but he's known for it. And he realized that you're going to spend money anyways. So, like, once you go in the building, if you are fooled and, oh, my God, I only paid $2 for a hot dog instead of $8, you'll buy a Falcon hat on the way out. Because you have the money, right? You're like, well, I came here with $300 and I only spent $60 on food. And, like, now, you know what I mean? Or you'll buy a ticket, a little mini-season ticket pack, whatever. So he figured it out. Yeah, you know what's like Mr. Burns and Homer. Give them their tartar sauce. Remember Homer's like, well, sir, he's like, they want tartar sauce, give them their tartar sauce. And then he's like, damn fools. Right? Like,
That's a good point.
Yeah, so Arthur Blank, same thing. It's like, give them their soda, Coca-Cola for $2. And I'm going to get their money anyways. But how about this deal, Cam? I think you'd sign up for this. All right, here it is, the best of X. All right, this is what they're serving tomorrow at the SEC Conference Championship game in Atlanta. It's a rack of ribs. That's the bowl. The bowl is actually ribs. It's filled with mac and cheese, Ritz cracker crumbs, scallions, kettle chips, and kettle chips, all for $30. You're getting the mac and cheese, you're getting the ribs, you're getting all that. Now, I don't really understand how you're supposed to eat that in your seat, though. Like, you sit next to people, like, hey, like,
good point,
that looks like a pretty messy type of deal here. Like, how do you eat the ribs? Like, you eat the mac and cheese. And I could do without the scallions. They lost me at the scallions.
I'm with you.
And I don't need, what are you putting Ritz cracker crumbs in this thing for? Just have the damn mac and cheese in the thing. And I like the potato kettle chips on the bottom of it. That's a good touch. But $30 is a very good deal.
Excellent price. Great value.
That's a meal.
Oh, it's more than a meal.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Friday Night Free Show. We're into the fourth quarter right now, and I need some points in this Army game. It didn't help that Tulane got stopped. They were first and goal. They went backwards. They got nothing. It's like 3 times Tulane were in the red zone and got nothing. They missed 2 field goals. They didn't get that touchdown there. Army are about to win the American Athletic Conference Championship in their first year in the conference, which is an incredible accomplishment. So it's 28-7 with 14 minutes left. Army with the football right now. UNLV's Cinderella and magical run is coming to an end. And dear God, the Columbus Blue Jackets have scored again. They're up 2-0 on the Vancouver Canucks right now.
Wow.
Maybe it's, you know, I didn't buy in when they were down 1-0, Cam. They're plus 195 right now. They're plus 1.5. The plus 1.5 is attractive here. The plus 1.5 for the Canucks, but I think they'll come back. You know what I mean? Dude, this is getting old. Like, they're 3-5-3 at home, and they're like 10-2 on the road. Like, this is getting stupid, guys. You got to start winning some freaking home games. You're pissing people off that pay $400 a night to go to see you. It's like getting old and stale.
As I said, Gabe, when I'm in Buffalo, so we were betting a lot of hockey when we're down there. Think about all the games this week. 2-goal lead, nothing. Fuck. The Sabres can't even hold a 4-goal lead. That's the whole thing. This is the best live sport gambling, 1 or 2 goals. You come back with the Canucks, who are a monster favorite. Let's do it. Plus 1.5, sprinkle money line. Lou understands.
They're plus 190 on the money line right now.
That's good.
I took the under. I gave the under. I stepped up big on these two, little bailout specials after losing these football games. Dallas Stars and Vegas are still scoreless right now with 6 minutes left in the first period. And Minnesota and Anaheim are still scoreless right now with 4.5 minutes left in the first period. Let's bring in a man who likes to bet the pucks. Lou, Gamblu.com. Good to see you, Lou.
Great seeing you guys. Thanks for having me in. I love the pucks, but I don't love the pucks. I'll bet maybe a regular season game or two, a spot situation in April, but not till the playoffs for me. And I'm sure you guys will agree. My reason is simply what you just stated. It's like watching tennis in the regular season. When you get to the playoffs, they play such a different game of hockey than what they play in the regular season because of the overtime rules and everything else, that I find them 2 different sports, and I only want to use the regular season's data to help me in the second season.
Cam was betting the over-unders of the first period of the first preseason game. He's not waiting for the playoffs.
Cam has a pretty keen eye, though, so we'll give it to him.
Sometimes, Lou. Sometimes, yeah.
In other words, if it flies, he'll shoot at it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of analogies in that form. So yeah, Lou's too early to be betting on hockey for Lou right now, but not too early for Lou to be crushing some ribs and mac and cheese. Let's get the $30 spectacular dish up that they're serving. So this is at the SEC Conference Championship game in Atlanta tomorrow, Lou. And Arthur Blank, who owns the stadium, he's famously known in North America for having the cheapest concession prices. And even this, like they did this in Toronto, they'd want like $113. Hell, in Montreal, they have a poutine, French fries, gravy, and cheese in a plastic Alouette helmet. They want $90 for it. like this, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, the helmet's cool, guys, but like you're a little excessive. Yeah, it's like a piece of plastic. $30, Lou. What do you think? So the bowl, it's like one of those soup bowls where it's like the crust. The bowl is actually the ribs, and then the mac and cheese is inside of it with scallions, Ritz cracker crumbs, and then kettle chips on the bottom of it. What do you think, Lou?
I love the idea of the thing, and it's clearly it's a perfect design for maybe two people, because I know I'm going to smash those ribs, and I'm not that interested in the mac and cheese and everything else. I'm going to give that part away. But give me a knife and let me tear into those ribs. That's a great idea, but that's not seat-eaten food. That's back up in the corner away from all the crowd. Give me about 5.5 minutes eating food.
Unless it's like a nice empty stadium where you got like your own seats and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? There's no lot of fans. Maybe like got the sauce all over your face.
Just rubbing all over the chair.
Sitting there,
like ribs are dirty. Lou knows. Like you can't be beside the guy beside you and rubbing rib sauce on his khakis. The SEC guy there. It's like you're right. Like that's when you're wasted at the halftime.
This thing's gonna start a fight tomorrow with the game. Someone's gonna get rib sauce on. And all those jerk offs with their bowl cut haircuts, Cam. They'll wear the polo shirt. Someone's gonna get ribs. Hey, you ruined my rib. You ruined my nice Georgia polo shirt.
You're so right. No, honestly, Lou's right. Like it's a beautiful, tasty
Longhorn fans going to be there. You call these ribs suck. Not like they're in Texas.
That's right. You call this barbecue? Guy's going to go wild. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we're going to have to look into that. How many fights are going to be started tomorrow over this? And I swear to God, there's a video on Twitter right now. We can't show it because there's a lot of F-bombs in it. It's exactly this. It's some dude, he's minding his own business at a Bruin game, but Bruin fans turn on each other all the time. So the dude, he's sitting there, he's just eating, he's got the same thing. He's got it all. Like he's got like the popcorn, he's got like nachos and cheese, he's sitting there stuffing his face. And some girl walks by, but she got it on her jacket. She got like the cheese sauce on her jacket. And then she like leaned in and she got it in her hair somehow. And so like she started like flipping out, like, you son of a bitch, and like she got in his face and stuff, except everybody told her to chill out, that it was her fault, and like, you know what I mean, and it turned into a big she's like, you think it's my fault? Then she starts going at it with other Bruin fans, and I gotta tell you, there's it's a reason why I'm not in a hurry to go to a Bruin game. Like I said, these people like cannibalize each other, let alone the visiting fans. But so yeah, we got this football game going on here with Army and Tulane. We'll keep our eye on this. We got Lou in the house right now. We'll get into the UFC 310. But Lou, we got about 2 minutes for the break. What do you think of the NFL card this weekend? Because I know you do bet on the NFL. What are you looking at this week?
Yeah, I can tell you that I have a strong position from early in the week on the under in Arizona and Seattle. I got it at 45, and as early as today, it was 44.5. If it's still 44.5, I still really like that number. You got two pretty decent defenses, division familiarity, and these two teams just played, if they didn't know each other well enough, 3 weeks ago, separated by 1 week. So I definitely like the under. I lean to Arizona a little bit, and I don't like favorites. I don't like to bet favorites, but if the situation is such that it really kind of glares at me, then I will bet a favorite, and Kansas City is glaring at me.
Kansas City against the Chargers on Sunday, huh?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the Dolphins in that spot when you were saying you don't really lay the points for the favorite, just because I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but I saw earlier in the day that it looks like Breece Hall and Sauce Gardner now could both be out as well for the New York Jets, which they're already a sinking a sinking ship.
They done sunk.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But you know what? The odds makers finally sort of caught up. This is the first week that they're like, yeah, we're making them an underdog, a real underdog. It took them this long to do it.
And they're still taking money.
Yeah, you're right.
And the Dolphins are going to roll them. The Dolphins are rolling. The Dolphins beat bad teams. That's what they do.
Good call, Gabe. The Jets aircraft, it runs on coal. Let's put it. They're running on coal. They don't. It's a horrible aircraft.
The flight's grounded. That's the best way to put it. The flight's been grounded.
Yes, agreed.
It's a big oxygen. They're a sinking ship. No, they're a jet.
Yeah, they're a jet. Exactly.
This time of year, I'm really trying to focus a little bit more on games that resemble a playoff situation where there's two teams that I know are playing for something, and Chargers, Kansas City has that. Miami, the Jets, that's a challenging game for me.
More on the other side with Lou and Cam. This is Sports Rage.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, and I believe the word I'm looking for is disaster. Getting killed tonight on the college football gridiron. Very disappointing. We'll shake it off, and I say that flippantly because Taylor Swift is in Vancouver right now, playing at the same time the Vancouver Canucks are playing, right beside each other. And there was a funny video that was posted of the worlds colliding. Farhan Lodgy of TSN posted a video. He said, like, when worlds collide and they're going in different directions, there's all these, like, hockey fans, like, staring at all these girls waiting in line at the Taylor Swift show. And the hockey arena is, like, on one side of the stadium. And, like, the way they set it up, there's like lines going in opposite directions. It's like
awesome.
You have all these like fat dudes in Canuck jerseys and April Wine T-shirts and stuff, and like all these girls dressed up like 5 feet away. And, like, all the Taylor Swift fans are kind of looking over like they're freaked out. They're like, look at these creepy dudes, like all these drunk dudes going.
I mean, all those Taylor Swift fans are under 30, aren't they? I mean, they're
under 25. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So they're kids, and the hockey demographic is, I'll actually refrain from saying.
Yeah, exactly. Older white man, older white male. Yeah, older white male.
Enjoy beverages. Yes, excessive
people
drinking.
like us. There's your hockey demographic. Us. So, all right, Lou, before we get to the UFC, anything else in the NFL? We've talked about Arizona. Big time game. Listen, the Cardinals have been on a roll, and I give them credit. And then, the last 2 games were tough. They go into Seattle. Tough break last week. They did cover the spread last week against the Vikings. But you look at Seattle, guys, they had lost 3 in a row, 4 or 5. The wheels were falling off for them. Then they go to San Francisco off a bye with their season on the line. They win the game. They go back home. They beat Arizona. They win the game. They go to New York. They're down 14-0. They come back. They beat the Jets. They win the game. Now, so 3 of their 4 games, guys, in the last month have been on the road. This is the 4th one. You just beat Arizona 2 games ago. Now you got Arizona sort of in the exact same spot Seattle were in a couple of weeks ago, where they had a losing streak. They needed to stop the bleeding against a division rival. And especially with these games, guys, not that the non-division games don't count as much, but you guys see the standings in the NFC West. They all could end up with the same damn record. Like, you know what I mean? They all might be 8-9, 9-8 or whatever, and then it's going to be like, all right, well, what happened in the head-to-head? So these games are so critical and big. But anything else, Lou, on the NFL card did it catch your eye this week?
Not on the card, but just quickly, what I'll say is Minnesota's a real quiet 10-2 team. Green Bay getting a lot of shine. The world was on them going to beat Detroit, and they covered. And Detroit gets a lot of shine because of what they're doing, rightfully so. Meanwhile, Minnesota, real quiet like. I don't mind a little ticket at plus 480 for them to win the NFC. I think that there's more there than meets the eye.
Interesting game with Kirk Cousins going back there this week. All right, so Army, it looked like they scored a touchdown, but he might be down right now, even if he is, whatever, they're going to punch it in momentarily. Let's get into the UFC. Lou, I've been so focused on these college football games, and evidently I didn't focus hard enough because I'm losing. So help us out with the UFC 310.
UFC 310, great card, stacked top to bottom. They're fighting in T-Mobile in Vegas. So we got a big cage, international setup. You got some old elder fighters. There's probably 10 guys of 28 that are 35 or older. But so far, the story this year in the UFC is that favorites are running at 70%, just above 70%. Unheard of. They're usually 62, 63% in a typical UFC year. So favorites are on fire. And yet when I look at this UFC card, I see some really juicy dogs. So am I scared to go after the dogs? No. I'm cross-eyed Mary. I'm going after those dogs like a fumble in the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. Because there is going to be a reversion to the mean, and there are going to be some dogs. When are they going to happen? I have no clue. But I do like some on this card, and we'll start with Anthony Smith, who fights Dominic Reyes, 205-pounders. Smith's last outing, he looked like dog meat. He really performed poorly, disappointed himself. His coach and mentor in life passed away within the last month or so. The guy is an absolute madman right now, and all he wants to do is get in a cage and fight. If you watch him during the week and in the ceremonial weigh-ins today, he's a pressure cooker. And I think he's going to explode on Dominic Reyes in this fight. You can catch Smith at 3-1 as an underdog. I really like him there in that fight. And then there's another underdog That's as live as Smith is. And fortunately for us, he's priced the same. And in this fight, it's a heavyweight fight. It's on the main card. It's a rematch of a 2021 fight when Cyril Gane, the Frenchman, took on Alexander Volkov, the Russian. Volkov, long, tall Russian, kind of an erect stand-up fighter, has grappling, never really used it, didn't use it in that fight, and a young 8-0 Gane who was new to the UFC beat him in a decision, but it was a 5-round fight, and after 2 rounds, Volkov was up 2-0. Now you flash forward. Both men are improved. They're about the same age. Volkov's taller, longer, been in with better, and he's really, really aware that this is his last run at a championship. He's looked great in his last few fights, and while Gane is a great striker, he is not very equipped in grappling. Volkov's going to go out there and ground him, and I really like him in this 3-round fight. You can catch Volkov at plus 280 or plus 300 if you shop well. Also, those are 2 live dogs for you.
I'm glad you brought that fight up. I was going to ask you about it. And another thing is, too, Gane, super talented. He was that phenom, up and coming. But Volkov's been around the game for a long time. I remember it from the Bellator days, Lou. And he's got a pretty good fight IQ, this guy, right? He wasn't aggressive enough earlier in his career, I thought. But as he stated, he's starting to peak right now as a fighter.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell's one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. We're kicking it. Gamblu in the house. We got our boy Brent Beard going to step up and in Heisman Trophy voter. We got to speak to Brent Beard, SEC Conference Championship game tomorrow. We'll get Cam's college football picks later on. We're stacked tonight. Rob Vino's going to be stepping up and in. Tony Finn, straight from the Strip in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the house. And we're talking UFC with Lou right now. And Lou, a very, very good card tomorrow. A lot of great fighters on this card. And a lot, there's a few old school vets as well. But I'm glad you brought up the Volkov fight. You got Weidman and Anders were supposed to be at MSG last month. It wasn't. What do you make of the rescheduling of this fight, Lou? Because I liked Anders before. Is there a reason why I shouldn't like Anders now?
No, none whatsoever. I mean, it opened with Anders as a little bit of a favorite, and when the fight was canceled right before fight time, Anders was minus 120. That pricing is still really close to pick. If Weidman can get him down, and I don't think he can, it's going to be Weidman. And if it stays on the feet, I think Anders, who's now sobered up and has disclosed that he was distracted in previous fights, has a good shot. But I don't want anything to do with a guy that's newly sober and in his first fight back. That's just not a fight I want.
Randy Brown and Brian Battle. Battle missed weight, Lou. Is Brown a live dog here at plus 170? Or does the weight advantage, is it going to help that he clearly didn't even try to make weight?
I think that Battle has basically decided to give up 20 or 30% of his purse and invest that in having advantage in this fight. And he's not the first to do it. These rules against missing weight are not stringent enough. That's another discussion. Battle didn't have to go from 175 to 171, and he made it look good when he stepped on the scale, like he looked miserable and everything. And then at the ceremonial weigh-in a few hours ago, he's talking shit and acting cocky. And I've bet on Battle. We've bet on Battle already. I have him as a plus position in the second leg of a parlay, so I want him to do well, but he is taking advantage of the rules. And meanwhile, Brown did everything he was supposed to contractually do: show up, make weight, be there, be a professional, and the other guy's cheating on him. It has to change. But to get into the fight, it's going to be the best fight on the card, because Brown is now going to be pissed off, and he does have experience on Battle, and he's been in with a higher degree of mixed martial artists. Battle stepping up here. This should be one whale of a fight.
We could debate whether the pay scale of UFC fighters, but as Lou just stated, the contract is very simple, and I've spoken to a lot of people about this, and fighters have told me the same thing. There's basically only two things you need to do, guys, if you sign a UFC deal. If you're a fighter, make weight and show up for the fight. Like, after that, it's like, I lost, whatever. I showed up, I made weight, right? You're a pro, I made weight, number one. I showed up for the fight, number two. That's all they're asking, right? Yeah, you got to do a couple of interviews here and there along the way, you know what I mean? Whatever. Like, basically the necessity of the contract, I've seen it actually, like, make weight, show up. And Lou, let me ask you, there's so many fights here, we can't get them all, but I know you've got thoughts on the Vicente Luque and Gorombino fight.
Yeah, Gorimbo, he's a guy that's really kind of a little bit like Battle. He's had 3 or 4 really good fights, but not world-class opponents. Luque's a world-class fighter, and in his fight 2 fights ago, everybody has this image of him curled up, and it didn't look good. And so Luque's fighting for his reputation and his future in the UFC. And Gorimbo is very raw, very wide with his punches. He's strong as a country mule, but he's telegraphing. He does more with might and will than with technique and actual ability. And so for that reason, I think Luque is a live dog in that fight.
Nothing on the main event for you? We got 30 seconds, Lou.
Yeah, I lean to Pantoja, but we don't know much about this other kid. He's a debuting fighter getting a championship fight.
Wow. And Gary's a plus 300 underdog, too.
His path to win is to run in circles and just tip-tap and try and win a decision. And that's how he fights. We'll learn a lot about Rachmanov and Rachmanov's feet.
Yeah, big number. Thank you, Lou.
Yeah. Thanks, Lou.
she was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The Friday Night Freak Show continues. Countdown to kickoff is on. We've got a massive Saturday of college football, and let's decide this stuff on the field at least as much as we possibly can. Let's bring in a Heisman Trophy voter right now. First Coast News college football analyst Brent Beard steps up and in. Brent, it's always a pleasure. How you doing tonight?
Well, Gabe, I'm doing well. Good to be with you. And a quick note for us Heisman Trophy voters: Monday at 5 will be the deadline to have it in, and we'll know Monday night who will be going to New York. So just wanted to mention that to folks that the Heisman Trophy voting is on its way.
And I know you've always been a last-second voter as well, right?
Yes.
This thing isn't decided until the final, the final whistle is sounded.
Yeah.
Do you think, Brent, like others, that should it just be a regular season award? Like, should we wait for the playoffs, and should they wait for a bowl game and everything for the Heisman vote, or do you like it the way that it is now?
No. I think we should wait until the end of the season, because you really don't know what's going to happen, and at least we're waiting until the end of the championship
Conference championship games, yeah.
Now, so and I mean that helps, but I do think if we wait until the end of the season, the other thing I wish we would do is we are basically sworn to secrecy next week that we can't tell who we voted for until the actual ceremony is over. Gabe, I wish we could talk about it during the week. I think it would bring a lot more attention to the award. We used to do that, can't do that now, but that's where we are.
Yeah, you're bang on about that, and that's why it's unfortunate I can't really ask you about this and about that, and it's kind of counterproductive, isn't it? Well, don't they want people debating this on national television on a daily basis? And it's crazy. We do it with the MVP. We're doing it right now this week. Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, and people have a lot of passionate feelings about it. So speaking of passionate feelings, I was fine with the playoffs the way that they were, with the 4. And I was never a fan, and I told people we're going to end up with 3 lost teams and whatever, dude. At this rate, we're going to end up with a 4 lost team down the road. I think Alabama could be 6-6 and they'd get in, Brent. But the hostility has begun for real. Like, there's sheer anger. Last year, Florida State got left out, and okay, somebody had to be left out, and it was actually the right decision. It was cold, but it was the right decision that was made.
Agreed.
But,
Yes.
man, you've got a lot of unhappy people. Like the Big 12 feels disrespected. Dude, the ACC, I mean, these guys, they're getting sued. They're suing everybody. Like, the ACC's not happy about this, Brandon. Dennis Dodd had a great story on CBSSports.com on Thursday about how the committee is already kind of fractured and they don't like this. This isn't what they were aiming for. And of course, Brent, artificial intelligence is being discussed about, you know what, the computer model, let's take the human element out of this so nobody can complain as much as they do.
I do wish at some point that we're able to get rid of the committee. I mean, I can understand now probably the need for it until we're able to see how this goes for a few years. I mean, I like the 12. I thought the 4 was just too short. And Gabe, to me, the 12 has done what it was supposed to do. It's created interest. I know it's created some anger among the commissioners, but as far as the fans,
and the fans,
I think, yeah, really. Well, and I'm sure the fans to a degree too.
But they like that. They like that, Brent. It's always been that way. Like I remember years ago when the AP was just deciding, the voters, right? A bunch of columnists would decide the champion, and it'd be controversy. And I remember the powers that be at the time said, "Well, you know what? You're talking about it, aren't you?" And they actually like the debate. They like the anger and this team and that team. And I get that, but it's a broken system. You know, they should have 12 was a weird number to begin with. They should, and we know they're going to be going to 16, but it's amazing that something that should be so simple becomes so complicated, isn't it, Brent? It's just a football game. It's just like somehow we confuse this, even the rankings about, well, this team would be seated here, but they're really ranked there. There's nothing simple about this, and it confuses people.
No, and we thought that having 12 would make it somewhat easier, but that really has not happened. But again, the games on the field are what save us. The ratings are going to be off the chart. The interest is off the chart. And in the bottom line, that's what they need. But look, we also need to say this, Gabe. The reality is the Big Ten and the SEC, and look, I get some of this. They have the most eyeballs. They have the most money. They have the you just going down the line, and they think that whatever happens with this playoff, that they should determine how it's structured and how it's run. So because they have the money and because they have the power, that at least in the beginning, I think that's where we're going to be, and it's going to be decided basically by those two conferences because they'll have the most teams in it basically every year.
There is a public perception that Alabama could lose 6 games and somehow still get in. And, over the years, the committee seems to move the goalposts when it comes to what the criteria is. And especially when it comes to Alabama, listen, you cover the SEC. In your opinion, should it be South Carolina? Should it be Ole Miss? Or should it be Alabama if it's not going to be Miami?
Well, I think what's going to happen is I think it probably will be Alabama, and this is why it is what the committee – look, we're not going to hear this from the committee, Gabe, but the reality of it is television still has a lot to do with this. And I'm not saying television's in the committee meeting. That's not what's going on. But the reality is for Big Ten schools and SEC schools in big games, you're going to have – 10 to 13 million viewers. That's what we have with Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia and Texas. And what they're thinking in their mind is, and this is why I think Bama probably is able to get in, if Bama plays either Notre Dame or if Alabama plays Penn State, that's 2 of the possibilities. The viewers with that, as I've heard from TV people, will be TV gold. So the reality is,
it could hit 20 million actually.
Oh, absolutely.
And it sets up because they love it. It's like, all right, Alabama gets to prove it. Is Notre Dame for real?
Sure.
You get these two massive brand names.
Yeah.
But you're right, Brent, and it shouldn't matter, right, when you're talking about the best of the best. But
Yes,
it's almost
true.
like the fight game, right? I mean, there could be a
Yeah.
fighter
Yes.
that's 22-0, but he's boring.
Right.
And you got another fighter that's 19-2 that might not deserve the shot as much, but he talks a lot of smack and he's great in interviews and you'll be able to sell it more. And let's be real. And even Hurricane fans can't deny this, is that the Miami Hurricanes can't even sell out their own stadium.
Look,
right? You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as being a brand and putting you in the playoffs, like, guys, you've got about 10,000 fans, man, right? You're not the same brand that Penn State or Alabama are. That's what I don't deny that.
Well, living in the state of Florida, that's one thing we hear a lot. I mean, is there excitement?
Yeah, you see it all the time, Brent. Yeah, they don't even fill their own stadium.
No, and they can, and that's a real struggle. They don't have an on-campus facility, and that's a shame. I'm hoping one day that will get done.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Do we have a fantasy star on our hands here, George? Here is the question with Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders. A lot of folks went into the fantasy season saying, hey, look, maybe this isn't Anthony Richardson, but it could be the next best thing. I'm here to tell you, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling like Daniels could be better than Anthony Richardson.
I don't know if I'm going to go there yet, all right, but I think he's in the conversation, yeah. What did we hear at draft time? A lot of people wanted a quarterback who can move, right? You don't want the guy who's going to take 5-7 steps and throw the football anymore because you want that additional rushing yardage. You know, you get 50, 60 yards, that's a touchdown, right? That's why Josh Allen is so valuable. Lamar Jackson is so valuable, right? You go up and down. Jalen Hurts. You go up and down here. I think Daniels is going to be a good quarterback. I think Washington got their guy, and he can throw the football too. We know McLaurin's a really good wide receiver. It may not be much else there. We'll see what McCaffrey can be. Luke McCaffrey can be there in time. But, you know, I do have hope for him. I think at season's end, he's going to be a quarterback one. It may be a low-end quarterback one, but a quarterback one nonetheless.
Yeah, I was really impressed watching him in that game. All right, now Anthony Richardson, look, he's going to have a big year. He's going to have a big fantasy year. There's no question about it. I don't know about the long-term viability here. And look, give him credit. He hung in there with the Houston Texans. My fear for him, George, is that when you go back and you watch film, if you protect the deep ball against Richardson, he could hurt you with his legs. And that may be where all of his fantasy value is coming from. I cannot see him throwing 2 70-yard bombs like he did again.
That should come in time, right? Practice time. I think he will get better here. I think Richardson's going to be fine. Does need to learn how to avoid hits. All right. Once again, that hit. Remember that hit from Tua last night? He initiated it. Slide. The rules are made for you not to get hit. Take advantage of them.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid radio and television networks. Countdown to kickoff is on the SEC Conference Championship game. We've got a rematch. We've also got Brett Beard in the house with us right now. So let's get down to business, Brett, because we are on the clock. We've got the rematch, Georgia and Texas. What are you hearing about this football game? What are your thoughts about this football game?
There's a lot of me that wants to pick Texas in this game because Texas can be almost unblockable, particularly on their defensive line. It's amazing to lose Sweat the way they did to the NFL, and they just reload. Now we've got Quinn Ewers. Is he totally healthy in this game? We've got Arch Manning if it comes through. Georgia really struggled, didn't they, Gabe, with Georgia Tech just the other day? Have they cleaned that up? I can tell you this game means a lot to Kirby Smart. It's not that it doesn't mean a lot to Sarkisian, but it means a lot to Kirby because he was under Nick Saban for 8 years, and Saban taught him how important that this game is. Carson Beck's playing a bit better. Nate Frazier, the little running back, number 3, has really been a star for Georgia at this point. But Gabe, I'm just wondering with this rematch, and look, they could play again for a third time in the playoffs, frankly, which is fascinating. But I think the way Georgia's been playing as of late, that Texas is able to nip them in this game. But look, they'll both be in the playoffs, and that's what matters most of all.
We saw Haynes King. What a heroic effort from him. I mean, this kid can barely walk, and it's been this way for a while. He's been beat up, but we saw Haynes King have success on the ground. Georgia have had problems with mobile quarterbacks, and Archie Manning is a pretty mobile quarterback. Right. Yeah. So I'd like to see more of a Manning package. They rolled it out last week against A&M. Yeah. They scored the first touchdown of the game with Arch Manning. And I would expect, more of that against Georgia. As you stated, Georgia, man, these guys have been on the ropes. They've kind of been, all right, they're done. And they've bounced back. And now suddenly it's funny, Brent, because earlier in the season, Georgia's defense was playing great, but the offense was struggling. And like you said, now the offense is starting to move the ball a bit, but now teams are moving the ball on Georgia, too. Now the defense is starting to get beat up a bit.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And another problem Georgia has on offense, Gabe, they have led the nation, not just the SEC and the nation, in drop passes this year. So, you've got guys like Dom Lovett. They've got to step up and be able to come through in games like this. I think that's going to be important. But again, now I'm curious what you've heard about this, Gabe. There are a lot of people thinking, look, do we need this SEC championship? Do we need this Big Ten championship? Gabe, I can tell you, people can gripe about it. It's not going away. It brings in too much money.
No, but this is also the downside of the modern college football era, which I said it'll devalue some of these games. Mm-hmm. Listen, when the kids run out onto the field, they're not thinking about the playoff or anything like that. They're thinking about winning the football game. But as you stated, it's devalued these games. And I don't want to see any teams play 3 times. Like that's exactly what I don't want to see. I want to see fresh matchups. But to me, the key of this game, Brent, and we'll see. Listen, the Texas Longhorns are the best starters in the SEC. The Texas Longhorns are one of the top first half and first quarter teams in college football. And you and I have talked about it. The Georgia Bulldogs have struggled. They've been slow early in football games to score. To me, this is key. Can Texas get a lead? I'm going to throw up the last game that they played. But can Texas get the lead in this football game? Because there's one thing that I know that Texas is going to do, and I think they're going to cause a lot of problems for Carson Beck. They're going to get at him, bro. That defensive line is elite.
Yeah, it is. I agree with that. And look, that's an astute point. Georgia has struggled. They started in game 1, frankly, with Clemson. You remember that?
Yeah, they couldn't score. It was like 6-0 at the half. It was 10-0 or whatever. It was close,
Yeah, it was. And they have had that struggle the entire year. Kirby knows it, that they are trying to work on that. Now, the other thing that's going on that's been a real help for Georgia is Carson Beck has cut down on his interceptions. That there was a 1-point game. He had 12 interceptions in 6 games, but over the last few games, he's cut down on those considerably. And I think that's a key point. But I love what you just said. The first quarter will be instrumental in this championship game.
Brett Beard with us. Brett, we've only got 2 minutes left, so let's talk about some of the other games. What do you think of the Clemson game? So we have a 3-loss Clemson team in here coming off the loss against South Carolina. playing against an SMU Mustang team that exceeded my expectations.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I didn't think they were
Absolutely.
quite ready for prime time yet. I mean, they were so desperate, guys, to get into a bigger conference that they agreed not to get paid for 7 years. Like
Yeah.
they said, no, we don't even want the money. Like we don't. I mean, we don't know. We want in, and we'll worry about the money later. Because they knew, they thought we have a program that can break out if we get some attention. And hey, they're breaking out right now. Do they beat the Clemson Tigers in your opinion? Because you want to talk about strength of schedule. Let's be real. SMU haven't beaten anybody. They really haven't played anybody this year.
No.
But Clemson haven't won a big game in a couple of years. Your thoughts on this? We got 1 minute left.
Yeah, and look, I think a real key for this is that Clemson defensive line with Peter Woods in that group. They are, look, that was a great titanic battle with South Carolina last week. I'll go with Clemson. I think Klubnik at quarterback is probably playing better. And look, Clemson, I think in big games, these guys have got more experience than SMU does, taking nothing away from what Rhett Lashley has done. Love to see what SMU has done. But I'm with you. This is as big a game for Clemson, too.
I think the physicality of the Clemson Tigers is what could be the difference in this game, right? Will the SMU Mustangs be able to stop if Clemson just starts to run the ball downhill a bit? Brett Beard, always a pleasure, Brent. Time's just flying by tonight. There's Brett Beard with us. Sports Rage continues. Bring it.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, the pistol players, the hustlers, the people to bust them, and everybody else in between. Thanks to Brett Beard for kicking it with us on the program. Sworn to secrecy. If you're a Heisman Trophy voter, you're not allowed to say who you're voting for until after the fact. And as we were saying, and Brent agrees, and he's a Heisman Trophy voter, it's short-sighted because people would debate it and talk about it more, but you don't let them talk about it. Right, all right, who are you going to vote for? Who are you looking at? And it would spark controversy, and there'd be media people out there that would have some crazy vote, and people would talk about it. It's weird because college football likes controversy college football really does not care about like people being upset about Alabama and stuff because they know that, Alabama are going to be in the playoffs and everyone's mad about it. Yeah, they're going to play Notre Dame in the playoffs and everyone's going to watch it. And everyone's going to want Alabama to lose, right? And even though it's Notre Dame, and, people are just going to hate both teams. They're going to be tuning in wanting both teams to lose. They understand, like, how to stir the pot, college football. They've always been this way. It's always been imperfect, even going back to the AP voting. It used to be a coaches poll, guys, and an AP poll, and that was your champion. They just would vote on it. And, like, the media, the AP top 25, here's your champion. And then people said, all right, this is ridiculous. Then we had all kinds of different little formats, the BCS, the computer, 4-team playoff, 12-team playoff. And as long as I've been alive, there's one common theme. People have always bitched. Right?
It's very true.
People, no one's ever liked any system ever, Cam. I remember, how do you have the media voting on this? It's stupid. Mm-hmm. Then it was like, how do you have a computer deciding this? This is stupid. How do you have 12 teams only? This is stupid. It never ends, bro. Like, people will bitch when it's 24 teams. Then the 25th team will just complain.
To your point to Brent Beard, and that was a great interview, by the way, and I was listening, I think you don't want to see the same teams play 3 times. And I think you bring up a really good point about that, and that's the whole problem.
That's stale, too. That's just stupid.
It is stupid. And the thing about it is, guys, remember back in the day, me and Gabe have been doing this a long time. They used to have co-national champions. Like, they'd have I remember, like, Washington.
Well, that's what upset people.
Champion. Yeah, that's when things started to change. But Gabe, I think they've gone a little bit
that's
too
what
far.
spawned because they kept on having split national champions, and then they would argue 2 teams would walk around with national championship hoodies.
I got to be honest with you.
Then you had UCF that didn't even win and pretended they won. That was the best. UCF. They're like, wow, we went undefeated. We should have won. It's like, you should have. You didn't, though. Like, you're not. I remember I was in Vegas at the airport, and I saw a couple of guys on the football team celebrating. And they were decked out in, like, national championship tracksuits. And, I respect them, but I wasn't going to upset them. But I wanted to say to them, like, dude, like
you guys are not national
Alabama won the national champion.
Yes,
Shit, exactly. You guys didn't win. Like, just for the record. In your heads, you won.
I love it. I wanted to say it, but I'm just like, enjoy it.
No, I did. I remember I was sitting there. I was hungover, Cam, and they're walking past me. I was like, man, I really want to say something. But I was like, number one, I don't want to upset the kids. And, like, number two, I don't want to get punched in the mouth by they were like linemen. It was like these 2 big brothers. I was like, I'm not going to say anything.
But I'll tell you though, Morency, the co-national championship, it's not much worse than it is now when we're talking about teams getting in, like, playing the same damn team all the time. Like, I don't know what system's the best, but right now,
but over the years, they've always kind of gotten it right. Like, the BCS never got it wrong.
I would agree.
Like, people, if you look back on it, but to be honest, if you look at the BCS, they have like a simulation of BCS now, and it's pretty much the same thing. We'll bring Rob Vino in, but this is pretty crazy, guys. We're only 1 year into this thing, and there's already big fractures in this thing. We all know the Big Ten and the SEC run everything, and already the Big Ten and the SEC are tired of everybody else complaining. We're 1 year in, and they have 8 of the 12 teams in, and they're basically like saying, listen, you guys are effing lucky. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're really threatening people now. They're not happy, and they actually said, you know what? Why don't we go to a computer model, artificial intelligence, so you can't cry about this. It'll take the human element out of it. Ironically enough, that's where we're going to go. We're going to go back to a BCS with all this new artificial intelligence. I'd put it this way. If we have modern heart surgeries with artificial intelligence, I think we could have football rankings. Let's bring in Rob Vino. What's going on now, Rob?
AI heart surgeries? Wow, I'm in, Gabe. Sign me up.
Hey, dude, planes are flying AI and stuff right now. Like, there's driverless cars, Cam. People are like, you can't do that. I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? It's going to be future politicians, artificial intelligence. Like, Elon Musk's machine will be the leader of the world. But good to see you, Rob Vino. Like, Dana White wants to do it, actually. He's like, all you losers in the media don't know what you're talking about with your rankings. I'm in talks with Meta and Zuckerberg to have artificial rankings. I'm going to replace the media. So, like, even we're replaceable now by artificial intelligence. You can't even tell, like, with deep fakes and stuff. I don't even know if this is the Rob Vino sitting there.
Exactly.
Could be a Russian plant.
she was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, this is Sports Rage. I am Morency. Let's get to Rob Vino because we only have him for one segment. Our schedule got all blown up and twisted tonight. I'm apologizing to Rob, but in his mind, he's like, good, I'm going to be out of here in 9 minutes' time. I'm going to crack a beer. I'm going to be like, so good to see you, Rob. Get right down to business. Let's blast through the board. Iowa State, Arizona State tomorrow. Any interest in this game? Are you betting this one?
Yeah, I played Iowa State. I just, Scatabo is what he is, but I just feel like when you don't have your top receiver, and for them, it becomes all running and just one back. I think Iowa State can defend it. Iowa State's got the number one pass defense in that conference. So they could probably just man up Gabe and stack that box 8 or 9. I know he's tough to bring down, but I would think Iowa State has the edge there. And, for what it's worth, people don't realize how good they are offensively. A pair of 1,000-yard receivers at Iowa State, that's kind of crazy. But true, 3-headed backfield. I like that side.
I'm on the Cyclones as well. Without, they lose their top receiver guys. And how about this? They throw it to them 78% of the time on third down.
Mm-hmm.
Like they haven't thrown to anybody else, Rob, more than 10 times on third down this year. Like Levitt just lost his third down blanket, basically. So they lose this. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Iowa State Cyclones secondary is like one of the best secondaries in the country. Like point blank, not just like you can't throw on them to begin with. So they're going to be one-dimensional. Special teams, to me, big difference in this game as well. Iowa State, one of the best special teams in the country. I actually saw there's like a differential of like 20 yards per play on special teams between the two of them. Like Iowa State are like a plus 20 and Arizona State are not good on special teams. They're like a -2 type of deal. Iowa State have a good punt returner. They have good punting. They get good field goal kicking. Like I just sort of think it'll all add up. Campbell's a great coach. Great year for Arizona State, but I'm with you. I think the Cyclones are going to the college football playoffs. I like Becht as well. And, that 49.5 is calling my name, Rob, just because it's so low.
Can
we get there to the over?
Well, they've played higher scoring games you'd expect. I would worry more about the Arizona State side, to tell you the truth, helping you out there. But, Iowa State they're not the typical 17-14 Iowa State that we're used to. They can put points up there. Maybe the Iowa State
we saw last week.
Yes. Yeah.
We saw it last week against K-State in bad weather. even. But we're seeing some of these championship games are playing a little differently, although they were on home fields tonight, not in perfect conditions. Like every scenario is a little different. It's almost like bowl season now. All right, we got the MAC championship game. Total's 44. Miami, Ohio are laying 2.5. I personally think the wrong team's favored, but this is a toss-up, right? I mean, it is what it is, this game. Indoors, though, at Ford Field. And then we got the big one, the SEC Conference Championship game, Georgia, Texas, 2.5 and 50 right now. Clemson are getting 2.5, 55.5. The Ducks, I can't believe the Ducks are down to 3. It's actually come down, not up. The Ducks are 3-point favorites on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. 50.5 is the total there. What are you looking at, Mr. Vino?
I'll tell you this. I did play the Penn State-Oregon game over, Gabe. It's up to 50.5 now. Still sits underneath the key of 51. But what sticks in my mind is 32-31 against Ohio State. Ohio State's the best defense in the land total yardage-wise, and Oregon had no problem racking up 496 total yards against them. In that same game, they give up 467. So, Penn State's not quite Ohio State offensively, but still, you got a quarterback that can run. You got a great set of backs. You've got a tight end who's going to be the first tight end off the board in the NFL in Tyler Warren. So I think they have enough to attack Oregon. And if I go the other way as well, when Penn State played USC, that was 33-30. USC scored 30 on them, as great as their defense is. So I think what everybody looks at surface-wise is, wow, two really good defenses. I looked back to see if they played any good offenses, and when I come up with the good offenses, I see points scored against both. So I think 50.5 is a little bit too low. I don't think the Ducks will be stopped offensively. I think Penn State can keep up. I couldn't bet, if I was betting side, you can't bet James Franklin. It might even be the right side, but I'd rather save my money than bet James Franklin. So it's probably Oregon or nothing for side, but I like total in that game over 50.5.
We'll get Cam's picks in a couple of minutes for this one. And everybody says the same thing. Can't bet James Franklin. I can't believe it's down to 3. Crazy. I thought it would go up to 4, 4.5. It's, it's the old rope-a-dope. This is the first game I bet last week. I bet the money line minus 165, and it's exactly what it is right now. And it's funny because it got all the way up to 190 at one point. What about the SEC Conference Championship? This is a conference that has been a high score. This is the SEC Conference Championship game, Rob, historically has been a track meet. Normally you have to score points, but Texas have a great defense. Texas don't want to play a track meet, really, with Georgia here. What are your thoughts on this one? Do you have an opinion on the side or total? I'll throw mine out there. I think Texas are going to beat them, personally. I think I'm throwing out the 30-15 game. Quinn Ewers was out for a couple of weeks. That was his first game back. And, he's not there. The offense isn't clicking fully, but Texas guys are very strong starters. All right, Texas are ranked 6th in the country. They scored nearly 22 points a game in the first half. Anyone that's watching Georgia Bulldogs know they're slow starters offensively. They're always slow to start. In fact, they're ranked 79th, Rob and Cam, in points scored in the first half. They only scored 12 points a game in the first half. I think Texas want to run the ball, get a lead, then sort of play some smash-mouth football and try to terrorize and get to Carson Beck after, Rob. But what about the total at 50 at Mercedes-Benz? At the mac and cheese and rib bowl game here.
If I was looking at the total, Gabe, in this one, I'd probably look under, to tell you the truth. But I played side, and I'm on your side. I played Texas minus 2.5 underneath the field goal. A couple of reasons why. We probably had this game when I was on a Friday with you earlier in the season. But to me, at that point, Sarkisian and the staff could handle a big game. But those Texas players were never really in a game like that with an SEC team involved. It showed on that day, 30-15. Now you get to play in Atlanta where Georgia's more comfortable. But I still think Texas is the better team. Only one team this season gained over 295 yards of offense against Texas. That was Florida. They got 329. Everybody else 295 or less. Beck and that Georgia offense are too inconsistent for me. And I threw in one more thing when I thought about it. After that 8-overtime game against Georgia Tech last week, Kirby Smart was interviewed after the game, and he talked about how physically beat up his team got by Georgia Tech. We always apply that the week after the Detroit Lions. It used to be the week after the Pittsburgh Steelers. This could be the week after getting physical by Georgia Tech, where it shows up for Georgia. And their defense is not the same. I think Texas can do enough to get a field goal win here, Gabe. So I like that side.
Great point. 8 overtimes, although it's a little deceptive. They're from the 3-yard line, etc. When they got into them after, once it gets to the 3rd and 4th overtimes. But yeah, the game was nearly 5 hours. Grueling game. And another thing is too, Georgia have had a hard time, guys, defensively with mobile quarterbacks. We saw Haynes King, who was really beat up. This guy's running with one leg, and he was terrorizing them. We saw what Arch Manning could do with his legs coming in, so I would expect some packages with Arch Manning. Rob, in about a minute and a half here, we appreciate your time. Sorry for the quick hit here tonight, but Clemson and SMU. Dabo gets a reprieve from the governor from death row. 3-loss Clemson team gets an opportunity. Yeah, the governor of South Carolina called and said, all right, Dabo, one last chance, Dabo, to get into the playoffs. What do you think of this one with SMU? They really haven't played anybody. What do you think of that total of 55.5 and the 2.5?
Yeah, Fran Brown of Syracuse let Dabo know, right? He's like, I got you.
So
in,
you're
Dabo.
welcome.
I got you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
Kyle McCord tweeted him, too, and he said, you're welcome, coach.
Yeah, I'm in a small boat here because I like over in that game. I just think SMU's got enough to get to the Clemson defense, but Clemson's probably got more. They're one of those teams that piles up yards and not points, and you're waiting for that to correlate to one another, and it could correlate against SMU this week. I think what you think that they haven't played many people, SMU hasn't. They're not used to this game. Clemson and Dabo are used to being in this game.
I think Clemson are going to win, but I say that a lot, and I've been losing a lot saying that. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell's one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look of what does it mean for the NBA Cup? Who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency. So we talked to when the Vancouver Canucks were down 2-0. We said, all right, got to buy in now, plus 1.5 on them. And I said, hey, the money line is plus 190. They will get back in this hockey game. Playing at home, the Canucks, they always give up the first goal of the game, so they're kind of used to coming back, to be honest. This is their MO. They give up, they're down by a couple early. They frantically come back, and now it's sort of a toss-up. But they're kind of, they were getting outshot 26-4 at one point. All right. So it's been pretty dominant by Columbus for the most part. But I've been watching this last period here now, and now that the football's over, and Vancouver are all over them in the second. For the last 10 minutes of the second period, they keep scoring. Like it's 2-2 right now going into the third period of play. All right, do we have Tony Finn? Because we don't have a ton of time here tonight. I saw Tony getting ready in the green room. Is Tony ready to go, or did we lose him, Greg?
I was going to say
Tony
this,
is not ready. Tony's powdering his nose.
Yes, exactly.
Hopefully nothing illegal, Tony.
Powdering his nose. I got to say this, though. Like, if we would have known we're at the end of the party now with Vancouver, but at the start of the year, if you knew this trend game, and actually, we've been on it for a long time, and you're in the backyard, you almost don't take them at the start of the game. You just wait for them to be down a goal, and then they're the perfect team.
But I figure that eventually they're going to break that, and they're going to say, we got to stop being...
I get it. I get it. I'm just saying, though, how many games has it been for them to do this? This can't go on forever. I'm just saying, at the start of the year, it's been going on for a very long time. They're giving up the first goal or two in hockey games. That's life.
They have a big homestand that's starting now. Listen, they're great on the road, and they actually play on Sunday. So they're playing tonight. They play on Sunday against an afternoon game, actually, against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then Tuesday, December the 10th. So Tuesday, December the 10th, we're not on because Greg Frank and Pat Foster and Sam and everybody have to get drunk at the SportsGrid Christmas party. I'm a professional. I was ready to go, but we have no staff. Everybody, once a year, like everyone's allowed to get wasted. And so no show on Tuesday, guys. Tuesday, December the 10th. So I was looking and I was thinking, Cam, please, I knew the Canucks had a bunch of home games coming up, like leading into Christmas here. And I was like, man, we're not on. I never get to go during the week. And lo and behold, the Canucks are playing on Tuesday. So I'm going to the game Tuesday against the St. Louis Blues.
Oh!
It's the Vancouver Canucks.
Yes, I was actually on the Blues the other night where they beat Calgary 4-3.
I'm glad it's the Blues.
Yeah.
Because the tickets are like 3 times cheaper. I know, and you know what? I tweeted that out actually, and we got fans in St. Louis. People are like, "Why are you coming at the Blues like this?" And I said, "No, I'm not coming at the Blues. I just told you it's just reality that." Because the thing is, I was planning on going on the Saturday against the Boston Bruins, and December the 14th, and obviously the Bruins are really hated. They started a riot. They lost in the cup. The Canucks did. They don't like the Bruins. Always a big game, and tickets are like $400, $300, $400, and. The cheapest ticket in the last row, which I don't want to sit in, is like $200. It was really expensive, the Bruins game. I was still going to go anyways, but I don't like being hung over on Sundays for the NFL show. I like to be sharp for NFL Sunday. So I'm not really a fan of going to games I like when the season's over and I don't have to do a show on Sunday. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going to go to the Blues game and Canucks on Tuesday, and I'll be able to sit pretty much not wherever I want, but
you will.
It's a lot more affordable because it's a weeknight game, and the Blues aren't a star-laden team.
But I'm going to say this, Gabe. I think you're going to see a lot of fun with the Blues. They got a lot of good young players like Neighbors and all these other guys on their team, and that's
I don't want to see fun with the Blues. I want the Canucks to beat them 5-0.
Okay, I'm just telling you, you're getting a great deal on a price with an exciting team. Like the Blues, they're pricing.
I've been on a roll cam of games that I go to that win. Yeah. Well, I'm going to put this to the test with the Canucks and the Blues. It's going to be put to the test, this one.
Blues are coming off a win, too. They beat Calgary 4-3, so it looks pretty good. Vancouver should be ready to go. They should be ready to go.
All right, so I believe we got Tony here, and we're already pressed for time, but Tony Finn looks like, dear God, how you doing, Tony?
Hey, Tony.
I'm doing great. How
you
about
look
you
like
guys?
I feel after my college football picks. I got to be honest.
You
look like Joe Biden lighting a Christmas tree. You just wait. What's going on?
I just got back from a little trip to
from Clark County detention center. Like we're just get to a trip.
The emergency room. How's that sound?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really? Huh?
Yeah,
way to make you feel bad.
Yeah,
you could have just canceled the hit.
I'm glad you feel bad. Feel bad, dang.
No, that's horrible,
no.
Tony.
I had
emergency room. Sure.
And
listen,
I'm looking at myself. Yeah, I'm looking at myself, and I look fabulous. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can you move your head over like a little bit into the middle of the screen?
Yeah, maybe. Are you okay, Tony? What happened?
Yeah. Kidney stones.
Oh yeah, kidney stones. They'll get you.
Yeah. I've been dealing with them now for about a month, so this one.
I'm
hopefully
surprised this is happening to you, considering all the triathlons that you run and
how'd you know that?
how much
How'd
you
you know
work
about
out.
that?
I can't believe like this happened.
I can't believe this guy.
How'd you know about that?
It's like you know you ate a lot of In-N-Out burger, buddy. Like I can't relate. That's life.
That's top secret stuff. How'd you know about my triathlons? I only do triathlons to find the pretty and fit women my age.
Yeah. Now you're not doing any triathlons. You were struggling
Not
at
anymore.
the Allegiant Stadium walking up that hill. Although so was I.
Well,
It was
yeah,
hot. It
that
was
was-
hot as hell. It
that was
was.
the
It was
alcohol.
hot. All right, Tony. So no, we hope you're doing all right. All kidding aside, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. No problem. Sorry about that.
We're pressed for time here this evening, so I'll throw it at you quickly. Your alma mater, the Arizona State Sun Devils, in the conference championship game in their first year in the Big 12. Do you think they win the game? Yes or no? Who do you got?
No, I don't think they win the game. I don't think that that anything at all. Listen. I've been playing against them all year. I quit playing against them because I was wrong each time, but I'm right here. And it's Iowa State. ASU is too one-dimensional. Their best receiver out for the game, and Jordan Tyson. Look at ISU to win by double digits this game.
Double digits.
Double digits, says Tony Finn. Well, you know what? I'm on Iowa State as well. Rob Vino is just with us and likes the Cyclones.
She was recruited to Oregon partially by, guess who? Mark Campbell and Xavi Lopez. They know what they're doing. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. I'm going to say this right now. Mark Campbell is one of the 5 to 10 best coaches in women's college basketball right now.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We got the NBA Cup going on. Not that anybody really cares per se about the NBA Cup. Now, I got to be honest with you. I actually did try to look like, okay, like what does it mean like for the NBA Cup? Like who's playing for what here? And I lost interest and I gave up after about 30 seconds. And I was like, you know what? Whatever, dude. There's NBA games.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
He also said that the Bears head coaching opening would be the most coveted job after the season.
They'll let that guy stay. I heard today that they were very worried about screwing up Caleb Williams, so that he likes this guy Brown so much that they may let him stay as the head coach. What a disaster that'll turn into.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, this is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Tony Finn making me feel bad. I'm like Don Rickles carving him up in the front row of a comedy show. And he's like, guys got out of the hospital. Next to coming back from divorce. Yeah, coming back from divorce court. Leave me alone. But if it hasn't happened yet, it won't happen. So I think you're all right, Tony. So you went to Arizona State, and you still don't, like you said, you're believing in Iowa State. I believe in Iowa State here. I don't, it's a tough game, but as you mentioned, without Tyson, and I brought it up, Tony, they throw to him 78% of the time on third down, bro. They haven't thrown on third down. They haven't thrown to anybody on the team more than 10 times combined. Like, he's the third down play. You can only give it to Scatabo so many times. Iowa State's going to stack the box. They have one of the best secondaries in college football. And I kind of think taking ASU out of their element in the desert here is going to catch up to them a little bit. Yeah, Campbell's a great coach. I think he finishes them off. Cam, I saw you earlier, Cam, when I was watching Sharapan and Wetzel.
Yeah,
you were talking about Arizona State.
I was, and now, but the thing is, I've been in Western New York getting crushed like Tony in the hospital. My brain's dead with snow. And the more I've been thinking about it, Iowa State is probably the play here. Arizona State has a lot of problems. Gabe, I just love this team because they've been good to me this year. But and I don't know what to do with this MAC game. Gabe, we've learned something a long time ago. We've done shows for years. I don't bet against the Ohio Bobcats. Every situation I needed them, they've been there for me. And I know Miami of Ohio is favored, but I agree with you guys. It's Cyclones and Bobcats for me in those two games.
I saw that it's pretty crazy. Ohio's actually never won this game, which is like shocking. Yeah. It's pretty wild. Yeah, that Ohio's never won this game before. Which means, listen, they lost to Miami, Ohio earlier in the year. This is another tough one, but I agree with you. I like the Ohio Bobcats here. I like their pedigree. I think that game was a little deceptive that they lost earlier in the year. The total's light at 44.5. It's not going to be a track meet, but it's indoors. It's 44.5 at Ford Field. Pretty low total there. So, Tony, you like Iowa State. What else are you looking at tomorrow? Big games, smaller games. What do you like college football?
I really don't like – I didn't like the card at first glance, but the more I looked and the more the more my due diligence I did for the week, I really like Oregon here, although Penn State's getting a lot of love in this game. They really are.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's down to 3 now. Yeah, I don't get it.
I mean, there's high percentage of the plays overall in this game are on Penn State plus the points here. And Oregon, the hook kind of bothers me a little bit, but you can lay 160, 155, 160 if you like Oregon straight up. I like Oregon in this game. I like Texas over Georgia as well, although that first game was really a strange game where Texas started 6-7 drives inside the 20-yard line and still had some struggles, protecting the quarterback, be it Manning and Aaron, whoever was back there at both plays.
Ewers.
Game. But
Ewers.
Ewers.
That was Ewers' first game back from injury.
Right. I'm telling you that Ewers. Did I say Ayers? I said Ayers. Air on the side of the caution. I am still under some general anesthesia, so pardon me. But I'm okay. Arch Manning, it wasn't Ewers and Arch sacked 7 times in that game. Started 7 drives inside the 20 and still didn't look very good, guys. But I like Texas. Gabe, you mentioned something last week before, that Texas is a different Texas team. They're a much more physical team, and I think they stand up pretty well against the Georgia team. It's not the same as the last 2-3 seasons. This is a team that's beatable, and we've seen it already.
I think they're going to be able to get to Beck as well. Beck has limited the turnovers over the last couple of games. It's almost like a yin and yang thing with Georgia, though. Earlier in the season, their defense was dominant, and the offense couldn't move the ball. Now, suddenly, the offense moves the ball, but teams are moving the ball on Georgia. We saw Haynes King and the Yellow Jackets go up and down the field on them. I think Arch Manning is going to get some packages. All right, we're up against it here. Clemson, SMU. Cam, what's your pick for Clemson and SMU?
I'm going to take SMU, and I'm going to be in the minority here. I don't like the fact that Clemson's in this game. You talked about a reprieve, Morency. I think the Mustangs have been fantastic. First year there, you talked about them paying money to be in the conference. I think they'll do enough in this game. I was on South Carolina against Clemson. I know they get another life. I'm on the Mustangs. Give me SMU to win this football game.
Another tough game, Tony, but I'm going to be on the other side of Cam. Give me the Clemson Tigers. I don't think SMU have played anybody, and I think Clemson finally have a team they can beat.
Yeah, listen. I'm rooting for SMU, but I agree with the Clemson play here in Clemson, et cetera, right? I think it's going to get called.
Charlotte. Yeah. So-called neutral field, North Carolina, Charlotte. Yeah. All right, we're going to post. We'll post all of our picks online. Other than that, you're on your own later.
6:14 of Beat the Odds. Today, we're going to do some myth busting. Myths about bad teams, bad weather, bad luck. So strap in. We got a big show. Beat the Odds starts right now.
From our Las Vegas studios, this is Beat the Odds, sponsored by Superbook.